Neil, congratulations on your nomination.
Thank you.
Been quite a year for managers, isn't it? And the calibre of managers in Scotland now, is it as high as you've seen here?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, there's no question that the quality and the competitive nature of the league has been dictated by the calibre of manager that's now working in Scotland, and it can only augur well for the game.
You look at Brendan, Stevie Clark and Jack Ross, three men who have really achieved, like including yourself. There could have been a few more candidates.
Loads, you know, Derek, Steve Robinson, David Hopkin. So to be in the top four or to be nominated in the four is very, very pleasing from my point of view. So it's testament to the season that we've had, and the players have, you know, put me in this position.
Why is it that we are, or the Scottish game is able to develop managers like this? If you especially when you think down south, you know, people don't rate the game, you know, probably as highly as they should.
Yeah, but that's their opinion. I mean, that's born out of ignorance rather than anything else, because they don't live here and they don't live in the environment. The product is good. You know, crowds are on the up. There's a lot of excitement involved. You know, there's going to be another huge game on Sunday. The top six is thrown up. You know, lots of permutations. So it's keeping the season alive, and the quality of football and the competitive nature of the game has improved a lot.
It looks like the next manager coming up from down south could be Stevie Gerrard.
It could be, yeah.
What's he letting himself in for?
Well, he'll have to find that out himself if he decides to take the job on. It's a risk, you know. I think it's a risk from both parties, really. So I think he might have a lot of, you know, thinking to do first.
You obviously went from playing to managing quite soon after stopping playing. Was that you really have to learn on the job there? Was it a real kind of whirlwind for you?
Well, you know, I'd been there as a coach, I'd been there as a player, I'd been there as a development team coach, so I was pretty much ingrained in the workings of the club inside and out. So then obviously you have to get results as well, which is the most difficult bit. And then I was interim manager for a while, and obviously I got the job. So you never know when you're ready, but it was a massive undertaking. And when I look back now, you know, I think, bloody hell, you must have been fearless to take that on. And Steve will be in the same position. Although I think I had a huge advantage in that, the fact that I was ingrained at the club, and I knew the personnel, I knew what the requirements of the job were, and I knew the culture of the club as well. Steve won't know any of that.
Just on your own personal thing, you feel you've developed as a manager a lot here in these last 2 years?
Yeah, I think I've developed a lot, and you know, I've been managing now for 8 years. So at Ford, Celtic, even the 2 years at Bolton, you learn from all kinds of experiences, and obviously the 2 years here, I think the experience at Bolton stood me in good stead for what we're achieving here now as well. There's always going to be down times as well as good times, and being able to manage both and keep an even keel. I think that's, you know, I've learnt a lot from that.
When you look at the teams that are competing in the top six now, Brendan Rodgers, highly experienced, yourself had experience before coming here, same applies with Derek McInnes at Aberdeen, Craig Levein at Hearts. How surprised would you be if one of your main competitors in the league opted for a manager that has no experience at all of the Scottish game?
Well, like I said, it's a huge risk, you know, and you know, they've got a manager, an incumbent manager at the minute who's got no experience, and they look as if they're going to go down that road again. So it's laced with, you know, a gamble. There's no question of that. And you have to look back over the 20 years since I've been here. You know, the two most successful Rangers managers were Scottish, and they knew the Scottish game. So, look, the game has moved on, it's evolved, and Steve is cutting his teeth at the, you know, youth level. But it's a big undertaking to take a job like that on, and there's a hell of a lot of work to be done as well. And I think that's really down to an experienced manager rather than someone who could be a project.
You spoke last week about the increase in profile that a lot of managers have brought to this league with the names I've just mentioned there. would it be a good move, do you think, for Scottish football to attract someone who's such a big name to the country again?
It'd be good for the profile of the game, there's no question. I think there'd be a genuine interest in how Steve, if he was going to take the job on, would do. So, and then it's down to him and putting his philosophy and ideas across and getting results on the pitch, because ultimately that's what being in Glasgow is all about. When you the big two is getting the results. Does he see it as a step in progression in what he wants to do? Then he can only answer that.
And back to your own team, Neil, a fantastic win against Celtic last weekend. How confident are you now going into the last 4 games that, maybe use the phrase, the team to beat, going for second place? Because it is in your own hands, you know, if you beat Rangers and Aberdeen and win your other 2 games, you will finish second. How confident are you of achieving that?
Well, I said that, you know, before the split we'll probably need to win 4 of the games, so we've won 1, maybe unexpectedly, played brilliantly, so it's just ticked off. And I said to the players today, there's no point in beating Celtic if you can't carry that on and not get carried away. So we're in a good vein of form. You know, we've got a couple of players back for the weekend as well, so that'll add to the strength that we have in depth. But it's still a long way to go, and Aberdeen are strong, and Rangers got a difficult game on Sunday, so it can flip in one weekend, so we're not getting too ahead of ourselves.
Rahman, my colleague, was asking Steve Clarke this morning about who he voted for the Manager of the Year. He said he voted for yourself. Can you tell us who you voted for, and also, even if it wasn't Steve Clarke, just assess the impact he's had on that club?
Well, he's given a masterclass in management, I think. No one could have predicted the rise that Kilmarnock would have had under his tutelage. And you know, they were on an unbelievable run. Alright at the end of last week, but Aberdeen are a very good team, and I've maintained that all the way through. So he's given that club their pride back, and he's given the players real belief. So we are in for a very difficult game tomorrow. In terms of Manager of the Year, it's a toss-up between him and Brendan, really. You know, it's very difficult to look past a manager who is on the brink of winning another treble, and the fact that Steve's being mentioned in those tones just speaks volumes for the job that he's done.
Is there anything in the newspaper report this week linking you with a move for Ali Crawford to do a contract with Hamilton?
I don't know, Paul. You better ask your colleagues in the media, because
I couldn't stand up the story yet, so.
Pardon?
I tried to stand up the story and I haven't stood it up, so that's why I'm asking you directly.
Well, it's the media who are driving it, you know, and there's no comment to make, and I'm not going to. I've got 4 games to concentrate on before we even talk about bringing players in or players leaving, and that is just, you know, been made up.
Is there not much behind the scenes activity then on that front at the moment? And a lot of clubs are at the moment signing players on pre-contract, and they're being quite public about their summer business. Is that really very much in the back burner for you at the moment?
I'm too busy. I think you got to play the long game sometimes as well, you know, and you know, not jump in just too soon. And there'll be other options, and we've got plenty of options in mind, and we're working away in the background, but probably won't have anything for you until the end of the season. At the minute, I don't want to disrupt the squad or turn heads or anything like that. We just want to concentrate on what we're doing over the next 3 weeks.
Go back to Steven Gerrard. We've had players coming up in the past, maybe not so much managers, but certainly players coming up and maybe underestimating what the Scottish game about. I don't know Steven Gerrard, I don't know what type of character he is. Is he the type of guy who will look at everything in front of him before making a decision, and try and evaluate exactly?
Knowing Steve as I do, he's a brilliant guy. He's one of my heroes, actually, over the last 20 years. Just a great role model and inspirational figure. But playing football is totally different from coaching and managing, obviously. And I'm sure he will do a bit of due diligence on it, and you know, he's got plenty of people he can turn to for advice. You know, like John Barnes would be a good example. You know, he went in cold, found it very difficult, which it can be a harsh environment. So it's not as easy as what people think it is, and that's the perception coming from down south. And we've seen a lot of good players and a lot of good managers come and go very, very quickly because they've found it very difficult to adapt to the pressures of what Glasgow and the expectation can bring.
There's very little honeymoon periods now for managers. say particularly at the Old Firm, that's the case, because it's win or bust, isn't it?
Yeah, I think in terms of Rangers, patience is needed. I think again whoever goes in has a bit of a job on his hands, but it's not insurmountable. But like I say, I think a more experienced guy would be advantageous in that department. But if Steve thinks he can do it, then good luck to him.
Neil, how close I know you've bloodied some of the players from the youth team into the first team already, but when you look at that team as a whole, how many of them are close to making big strides in the first team over the next year or so?
We're very proud of what the young boys have done. They've had a tremendous season and done themselves and the fans and the club and myself very, very proud. And it's a real feather in the cap to be the best of their year. Not only winning the Youth Cup, which is pretty special, but also the Development League. So it shows that we're doing the right things behind the scenes and moving in the right direction. Like Poaches and Fraser Murray and Ollie Shaw have already there and around it. We do have high hopes for a few others, Ben Sterling's of this world. So it's a very good group. And if we get one out of it, we're doing well. But if we can get 2 or 3, then it'd be tremendous. But yeah, they're progressing very, very nicely.
Just finally on the game on Sunday at Celtic Park, what would it mean, do you think, to Celtic fans and everybody involved in the club to actually win the title in front of their own fans against their fiercest rivals?
I just think psychologically it would give them a tremendous lift, and something that they would talk about for the next 10, 15 years, 20 years, whatever you want to call it. So we've seen a few Old Firm title deciders over the years, and this could be another one. And Celtic will obviously be highly motivated, and I'm sure Graham will have his troops after what happened a fortnight ago wanting a better performance. So you can never predict what way the game's going to go, but I would obviously say Celtic are very heavy favourites to go on and win it.
Did you discuss it with Brendan last week, saying it's in your hands now to do it next Sunday?
No, I mean, we talked about a few things, but they know what they have to do, and when it comes, they will be worthy winners again. McGregor's back, obviously Scott Allen back in contention. So we've got Bartley fit, Barker getting there, and David Gray back on the grass as well. So we're near enough at full strength again, which is great.